That's off the record. Okay,
Okay.
so
So
let's
far, I
start.
like this. So, how do you want me to address or introduce you?
Well, you want to do just first names or full name?
I could give you. Should we do first name or full name?
Full name?
Full name. And
Jesus.
Jesus.
And named after Jesus.
Oh,
And then Barragan.
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 Ba. I can't roll my tongue.
Yes, you can. Barragan.
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 There you go.
Oh.
A volunteer and supervisor compost office.
Okay. So, hi, I'm here today with Jesus Barragan, a volunteer at David Compost's office. And today we'll be interviewing him for a perspective on gentrification in the Mission District. So, for our first question, what do you feel are the pros and cons of gentrification?
Well, let's do the pros first. Gentrification is progress. Buildings getting remodeled or new ones being built. Eventually, it has to come down. But there's an old saying, progress has a price. And I think that's where the cons of gentrification, the price that one pays for progress. You have a lot of displacement. And then in a city like San Francisco, where the cost of housing is just out of control, it means people have to move out. And there was just an article in the Chronicle a few weeks ago that a lot of people who work in San Francisco, because they cannot afford to live here, are living out there in the suburbs. Okay, well, that's transportation money which increases to go to work. So gentrification, displacement, the cost of rents or buying a house, all of that goes up. And then for people that have to leave the city, they have to commute to come to work here, but also in terms of school. Having to move out, gentrification, you say goodbye to your friends. You got to go to a different school. So there's this being uprooted. So in a sense, gentrification causes what we call migration to the suburbs. Yeah.
Okay. So, do you feel then that gentrification helps or hurts the community more?
I think in the long run, it hurts the community more for the reasons I've said it, because the progress, the nicer building, the remodeling, too often that community themselves, especially in the Mission, certainly is one of them, they can't afford those places. So it's the out-of-towners, it's people from other neighborhoods. So yeah, it looks a little spiffy, but you can't even afford to go there.
So, why do you feel that gentrification should be addressed in the media?
I think it needs to be better understood. I, for one, get tired of hearing from people in districts outside the Mission, well, somebody needs to go in there and clean it up. I've heard that before. But I think gentrification, I think an in-depth study of the effects of it, again, the pros and cons. I believe information is power. And I think that the media needs to really discuss it more in depth to get that information out. so that people understand something. I believe that you can manage a situation better if you understand it better.
Do you feel that the residents in the Mission District, do you think that they have a good idea of what gentrification is, and do you think they know how to work with it?
Yes and no. When you look at the Mission, you look at the, like as in many neighborhoods, but I think the Mission is, the Mission is a very unique neighborhood. To me, it's sort of, it has a little bit of everything and everybody in there. So it's like this core area. You have people that are very well informed. You have people there that feel, yeah, well, we need someone to come and clean it up. You have people there that somewhat understand gentrification. And then you have people that are victimized by gentrification. So you have, I think you have the whole spectrum of people there. And that's why I think the media has a responsibility to do an in-depth analysis of gentrification in the Mission. That's, it's the media. You're supposed to be doing that.
Right. So, how has gentrification contributed to the homelessness in the Mission District?
A great deal. Many people have lost their housing. And the Mission and the Tenderloin, South of Market are the three areas in San Francisco that are greatly impacted by homelessness. But in the Mission, a lot of people have lost their housing. They just couldn't afford to stay there. During the when the economy went down in 2007-8, a lot of people got laid off. And a lot of homelessness, they dirty the streets, throw this and that, the homeless encampments. So, you see that, and then here are the people that say, yeah, see what I mean? Someone needs to come in and clean it up. It's like coal to the fire.
So why is it that the Mission District is such a big location for new tenants, and which somewhat results in gentrification?
Well, it's always been a very desirable area. It's got pretty good weather. Like I said earlier, it's very, very diverse. I mean, you can get any kind of restaurant. You've got, it's a very, very strong cultural area. All this art, plays, music, like I said, and the housing, not so much nowadays, but in the past, before it skyrocketed out of control, it was a very desirable place to live.
Yeah.
Very desirable.
So the Mission District holds a lot of character. It has lots of cultures and different types of people.
Yes.
Of all different backgrounds.
Right.
And so with the new wave of tenants that are coming in and sort of buying and remodeling certain homes, do you feel that that kind of takes away from the desirability, or like how desirable the Mission District is?
Not necessarily. I think it's who's coming in.
Okay.
There's this. I think the Mission is getting hit big time. The high techie, who really don't have a history with that neighborhood. I'm not so sure they even relate to the environment, the atmosphere, the flavor of the Mission, or as we say in Spanish, el sabor, the Mission. So what the Mission is and has always represented, it's dying. And gentrification is at at the foundation, at the core of it. I mean, just ask yourself for a second. Imagine a San Francisco without a Chinatown. Okay, imagine a San Francisco without, like that strong Russian community out there by Geary, the avenues. It's not a major tourist. Imagine a San Francisco without a Castro district.
Yeah.
And imagine if you want tacos and burritos, you better go find a Taco Bell.
Right.
Okay? Try to imagine that. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Yeah. When you put it in that perspective, it really is just kind of like, wow, it'd be so much more different.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The things that have made the mission what it is, what it has been, it's being eroded.
Yeah.
And gentrification, the housing crunch, the out of control cost of housing is that level. Yeah, in fact, there's right there off of 22nd and Mission, where the Popeyes was, there was a fire in the corner. Next to that, there's these new apartment buildings that they built where the windows are slanted crooked. That is so out of character of the Mission. So out of character. And then I think next to that is the where the new Mission Theater is. They've redone it, Star Wars, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that housing, I mean, it's the windows are like this and like this, ugly.
Yeah.
It's ugly. It's just next door to that place that caught fire. There's a Antena Taqueria that was there. Then there was that Popeyes on the corner and apartments upstairs. That building is so out of character. It's ugly.
Hopefully, there's not too many other
Yeah.
buildings that'll come, but in terms of the displacement in the Mission District, do you feel that there's some sort of way that maybe the residents or people outside of the Mission District that they can